Tonight, okay, no.
Hold on, is this my hair or is that just...
No, it's your hair. Let me see. Hey guys, it's Viv
and G.
Welcome to our channel. So we just finished watching episode 2 of The Bachelor in Paradise.
Yes.
And let's say there was a lot of drama today. A lot.
Yeah. And once again, this episode focused a lot on Colton and Tia, which we definitely weren't happy about, but hopefully it's gonna end after this.
Yes. So one of the first things we see tonight on tonight's episode is Colton and Tia talking about each other with, you know, Tia with the girls, Colton with the boys. But the thing is they're on two totally different pages.
Yeah.
Tia's like, oh my gosh, yes, like he's for sure, like we're gonna like continue this. I'm gonna definitely give him the rose tomorrow.
Yeah.
Colton, who I appreciated his honesty.
Yeah, for sure.
He was like, I don't know, like, yeah, maybe. And then he's talking about how he's still in love with Becca. He definitely doesn't know what he's doing at all. Zero. Like he said, he's exploring other options, but Tia's still on the board. Oh my gosh. I was like, Colton, really?
Yeah. Like we said, we're happy that he's being honest, but I don't know, he really needs to figure some things out.
Right.
She really thinks that this is the start of an amazing relationship, which is kind of sad. So the first date card of this episode goes to Kenny, which we were really excited about. And surprisingly, at least to me, he ended up picking Crystal. So for their date, they had this little WrestleMania thing going on.
A Mexican style.
Yes. And Crystal was actually loving this date. It seemed like they had this little thing set up for Kenny to kind of defend Crystal's honor against the other wrestlers. So he ended up actually going into the ring and
like, grabbing a chair, like breaking it on this like Mexican wrestler. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was really cool. And Crystal was just having a ball. She seemed a little tipsy too, which was hilarious. And she said it was a beautiful sight. She was really enjoying that. And after that, they had a little bit of a heart-to-heart outside and opened up to each other, which was really nice to see.
Yeah.
And they did end up sharing a kiss.
Oh, it wasn't an awkward one. I was actually like, Kenny and Crystal, but Kenny.
Yeah. I mean, if it has to be with Crystal, that's fine. We just love Kenny and we think that he has such a good heart. So we're hoping that he finds love. And who knows? I mean, Crystal's Crystal, but she's a lot to handle for sure.
Yes. One thing gets under my skin every single week is David. David, I'm sorry. Like, you look at Jordan, you talk about Jordan. Anything that has to affiliate with Jordan and you, stop it. It gets under my skin every single week. I'm like, get off the screen. So David's just chirping to Annalise about Jordan, and it's just the most irritating thing. Like, oh yeah, he's not here to find love. He's just here to like, whatever he said. And it's like, David, shut up. You're not even friends with him. Like, stop. You didn't even say hi to him properly. Like, it was the most awkward thing. And like, the fact that Annalise kind of like really took it and like, oh my gosh, it just, David.
Yeah. But luckily, all that talking didn't really affect her too much, because later in the night, so adorable, even though Jordan didn't have a date card, he created his own little date for him and Annalise, where they had dinner on the beach, which was so cute.
It was the cutest thing ever. And
we were both saying you really saw a different side to Jordan. He was blushing when he was with her. He just had a whole different aura about him that he did when he was on The Bachelorette with Becca.
Yep.
And you can just tell he's really crushing on this girl. And after dinner, they went for a little walk, and then they kissed, and it was just so adorable.
It was really cute. So once Crystal and Kenny were on their one-on-one date out at that little WrestleMania event, Kevin is left behind, and he's like, you know, I don't know like what's gonna happen. happen? Is Crystal gonna come back smitten Kenny? Like, I don't know. So he approaches Astrid, and they actually like kind of hit it off.
Yeah, they really did.
It was really cute. They were on the little day bed, just talking, getting to know each other. And then the funniest thing happened. Like, I feel like a gecko just flew on her. I don't even know where it came from. It like fell on her.
Yeah.
And that was really funny. I would have freaked out.
I know.
She kept it pretty cool. She's like, oh my gosh. And then was totally calm and it was still on her.
I know.
And yeah, and then they ended up walking on the beach, sharing a kiss. They were super sweet. And Kevin said, I actually think that Astrid and I are more compatible than Crystal and I. So that spoke a lot because it's like, okay, he was super just like focused on Crystal, and then for him to, you know, kind of like explore a little, really worked out for Kevin in the long run.
So now we see Colton and Angela on the beach throwing the football around and kind of connecting, and it was so weird because Colton throws the football very weakly and says something along the lines of, oh, I told you I'm not a good thrower. But then I was like, weren't you a professional football player? Like,
right.
What do you mean? So weird.
Made no sense.
But they did seem to connect a little bit.
Yeah.
So
the wicked weirdest part of this whole thing is while Colton and Angela were like playing their little football catch game, Tia is up top, you know, one of the lounges up there, and is like, yeah, like Colton's like, she's not saying he's the one, but he's the one I'm gonna give the rose to, and it's just like super intimate. And she's like, oh, I wonder what he's doing, and turns around, looks at the beach, and there they are, Angela and Colton playing football. And I'm like, Tia, isn't this a sign? Like, your man's not even like paying attention
for
to
you.
you. Like, no, he's into other people. So now we fast forward to the rose ceremony, and everyone kind of scatters and looks for the person that they are super interested in. So of course Jordan grabs Annalise, and he has this big stuffed animal dog sitting on the daybed, and he's like, Annalise, like, I know you're afraid of dogs, but you know, I'm trying to help you get over your fear. Something like that. Something super Jordan jokey, jokester. And fast forward, they're having like the super cutest little like heart to heart. And then Annalise, who I feel like isn't the boldest person, tells Jordan, you know, you are gonna get my rose tonight, which I thought was super sweet because people who have the roses generally don't tell who they're gonna give the roses to until the rose ceremony. But of course, Jordan has to answer her saying, well, yeah, wouldn't it be awkward? We do share a dog together.
So now we see Nick being completely delusional once again with this whole made-up Chelsea relationship. Like, he thinks that they have this deep connection and they just don't. It's so funny.
It was funny because they replayed this scene from last week when I told you guys that he was like, oh my gosh, Chelsea, you're just so beautiful. And playing with his hands, not even looking at Chelsea. What? Nick, get it together.
So we see one of our favorite couples so far, which is Joe and Kendall together. And they're just on the daybed and they do little cheers. And Joe's so cute. He's like, it's to us. And
he's so cute.
And they share a kiss. And everything seems to be going great for them. And he even said to her that he wouldn't want to accept a rose from anyone else but her. Then, though, we see Kendall go off with John.
Right.
And then she kisses John too, which we're like, what?
And she was really passionate about that John kiss.
We're Team Joe.
Yes.
Team Kenjo.
So now we see Tia and Colton. Tia grabs Colton and goes to like this super far daybed into the distance. And they sit down, and Tia just wants to confirm that Colton's into her.
Right.
And she confesses to him, like, you know, I'm really into you. And then she proceeds to ask him, like, are you on the same page? Like, are we both feeling the same thing? And his answer just wasn't the greatest.
Yeah. No, and at that moment, and she has every right to ask these questions.
Of course.
But in that moment, him basically saying he still is looking at other options, that wasn't what she wanted to hear. And she ends up giving him an ultimatum and just like pressuring him, saying, you know, if I don't pick you, no one's gonna pick you. Like, and it was just so ridiculous of her. Like, I get it. You have feelings for him and you want him to be the one that you're with, but to do that to him, basically saying like, I have all the power, which yes, the girls do have the power this week, but it was just ridiculous and it really was a bad look for her when in all reality, Colton is just saying his truth.
Which I love. I love that Colton is being so incredibly honest. I feel bad for Tia, but sorry, like the stars were just not aligning for the two of you.
So now Chris does this cute gesture to Tia where he has sweet tea all set up on a daybed for them and they talk and he's like, you know what, like I'm here for you, I'm here for the real thing. And she was like, that's so good to hear, that's all I wanted to hear. And they share a nice moment and end up kissing.
Mm-hmm. It was super sweet that Chris did that for her. Cocktail hour is now over. Chris Harrison comes back into the room and announces that the rose ceremony is about to begin. So there were 9 women and 11 men. So the women have the roses this week, meaning 2 of the guys are gonna go home.
Mm-hmm. So Crystal is up first and she gives her rose to Kenny, which we kind of expected because of that really good one-on-one. And then Astrid is up next and she gives it to Kevin.
And then we had Tia go up and she gave her rose to Chris, which was very appropriate. There was a part of me that was like, do not give it to Colton. I don't know.
Oh my God.
And then Kendall gives her rose to Joe.
Yay.
So happy.
And Annalise gives her rose to Jordan. And Nisha gives hers to Eric.
Yes. So then Chelsea gave her rose to David.
Now we have Wills, Nick, and Colton left for the guys, and the only girl that hasn't gone is Bibiana. And this is the shocker of the night. When Bibiana gets up there, she picks Colton.
We had to pause the show for a minute because we were so upset that none of the women noticed our man Wills. I don't understand, ladies. Why did Wills have to go home night 1?
Why? Out of all of the men, you let Wills slip by. Are you kidding me?
Right.
So, in honor of Wills tonight, I have my swag shirt on
And
my braids in. And we love you, Wills, and we're so sorry. But we know you'll find love because you're awesome. And it could be me, I don't know, maybe.
So once we started playing the show again, Bibiana quickly explains to Colton, I believe it was, is like, you know, I gave you the rose because she didn't say exactly this, but this is what I got from it, is like, I didn't want people just judging you based off of this Tia-Colton relationship back and forth. Like, people need to get to know you, which I thought was really cool of her in that aspect of like really standing up for Colton, because I feel like everyone was just bashing Colton.
Yeah.
And to be honest, he was being the most honest.
True, very true.
Like, yeah, okay, fine. You don't need to bash him. You just need to tell Tia, yo, this guy's not into you. Yeah. I don't know. So I love that she did that. Even though I think the girls were in shock that Bibiana picked Colton.
Yeah, they were so in shock. Also, side note, I think Colton, like, he has the creepiest smile all the time when he's speaking. Like, does anyone else notice that? Like, please comment down below if you see his creepy smile constantly. I don't know if it's like because he feels awkward and like gets nervous and he's just like...
He'll start off, okay? And then be like, hi, my name is Colton.
Like, I can't even do it. It's just like so creepy.
Oh, it is kind of funny. Okay, so the next morning in paradise, Chris Harrison comes and pretty much says, we have a surprise guest. We've never really done this before. Guys need to head to the beach and the girls stay put. And who comes walking in? Becca. Which was crazy, and I was really excited because she looked stunning.
She looked so beautiful.
So beautiful. I mean, maybe it's because she had makeup and the rest of the cast didn't.
Like sweating in paradise.
Right. And so she gets the lowdown of what's happening in paradise. Her and Tia have a little bit of a one-on-one kind of.
Of course.
And she, of course, has to talk about Colton and that struggle.
So we cut to Colton on the beach talking to the producers, and he realizes that Becca's there, and he's just so sick to his stomach. He's like, I literally feel like I'm gonna throw up. You know, I don't know if I was ready for this, and it's really hard for us to watch. He then goes into the bedroom where he's just bawling. David comes up, which is really commendable of him. You know, it was nice to see a different side of David where he's trying to help Colton out.
The one time I will applaud David, okay?
Yeah. Him and David are just talking through it, and Colton says, you know, I feel like I'm falling apart. I always try to be this perfect person, and it's just not working out, and he's just so lost in this moment. And that's when we now see Becca proceed to go find Colton and talk to him, because she said to Tia she didn't want Colton to think that the reason that she sent him home was because of Tia. It really was because she was more in love with the other guys and had a better connection with them.
Yep.
Which we were both like, that is so mean of the producers, knowing that Colton is in this awful like state of mind right now, being so upset, to send Becca up in that moment. So it did get cut off.
That's how the show ended tonight.
So I guess we'll see what happens tomorrow with that, and hopefully Colton does get some closure. Truthfully, I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up leaving Paradise at this time.
I know, it really leaves us with a cliffhanger on, is he still in love with Becca, or is he ready to move on, just needed that closure and just to like be okay with everything. So I'm excited to see tomorrow's episode.
Yeah.
And just to see who else is joining Paradise.
Yes, we are gonna have some girls this time because the rose ceremony is gonna be in the guy's hand. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you can see every time we upload a new video. We do upload weekly.
And we will see you guys tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye. Which I love that Colton is being so incredibly honest. I feel bad for Becca, but
Tia.
I mean, I feel bad for Tia.